We open on a dark, dreary and damp April evening as our protagonist eats rice from a bag. Greetings, Pod fans. It's day 16 of PodVHEDA. Pod videos himself every day in April. And you know what I love about spring? It's the weather. It's so good, you know? We're out of winter, so it's kind of like after drying up a little bit. Not in Ireland, though. It's just been raining all day and it's horrible. I got very damp. Luckily I was saved by having a nice jacket. But yes, not the best weather to be outside in. So today I think I'm going to explain why I believe that I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd because I like nerdy things, but how did this all begin? How did this weirdness just seep into my very soul and pretty much just become all that I ever am? Let's talk about it. So, there are two movies that I credit to this. When I was younger, I was always into cartoons, I was always into things just as kids are, you know, cool fantasy stuff. I did love to read, which was a good one. But the two movies, I was brought to see them by my dad, because he just thought they would be cool. The first one was The Phantom Menace, the episode 1 of Star Wars. My dad brought myself and my brother to see that, and I remember going and seeing it and loving it. I rented the original trilogy out of order. I went A New Hope, Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, but I was renting them like, it was like every fortnight or something. So I got confused and I just assumed that at the end of Empire that was the end, and I was very confused. It was only a couple of years later that I realised this. I put two and two together and went, oh, so that's not how the trilogy goes. And then of course my entire life just became that. The other movie was 3 years after Phantom Menace, and that was The Fellowship of the Ring. I remember there was like super hype in the papers. I was super like excited for it and stuff like that. My dad just brought me. I can't remember why, but I remember walking to the cinema. I have these vague memories of seeing it, and then me, there's one quote that I used where it was about the troll that attacks them, and Harry Potter had been out, and I mentioned that the troll in this makes Harry Potter's one look like a walk in the park. And from that point I was obsessed. I started collecting the battle games in Middle-earth, which is like Warhammer, but the Lord of the Rings ones. I still have a ton at my parents' house. I started collecting anything I could get my hands on for it, and it was the same with Star Wars, just because, you know, the movies were coming out and the merch was everywhere. From there, I guess, I just decided that I was a weird kid, and I just kind of played on that, and that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be that nerdy kid. It was never a thing of like, oh, I'm a nerd, oh no, I don't like being a nerd, I wish I wasn't. I just accepted it, and that was me, which sucked when, you know, bullies happen, as bullies always do in school, but I was never horribly bullied. I wasn't ever, it was never that bad. But I do remember just hating the idea of, you know, I like this stuff, why is that something that you can't comprehend, Mr. Man? It was weird, but, you know, I'm well past that now. It's been a long time since I've been in school, and I'm a happy boy now, but yeah, those are the two things that I believe spawned my entire nerddom, and I guess probably led me to the point where I am now, sitting in my living room eating rice at like 10 o'clock and talking about why I'm a nerd. It's pretty cool, like, because I know some people have games that got them into being a gamer, and I like the idea of having specific movies that got me into this, that started me down this path. And like, you know, maybe if I hadn't seen those at that age, I would be a completely different person, and I would have completely different friends, but I don't know, it was at that point that I just became a weird kid who loved collecting, well, who loved, I don't know, because like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars are probably two of my favourite things ever. I've branched out into a lot of different other places, but it always comes back to them. And Lord of the Rings for the longest time was my favourite thing in the world. But yeah, Star Wars then took over as years went past, which was weird because, you know, they were still releasing the Hobbit movies, and I just decided that Star Wars was my thing. It was something that I wanted to love, to talk about, to nerd out about constantly. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on that matter. Yeah, those are the two movies that just got me to here. Those are two movies that started me down the path and made me the man I am today. I'd be interested to see if there are people out there who have those kind of stories, those kind of things that they believe that this is the origin of my nerddom. Anyone else have that kind of story? If you do, post in the comments, or I don't know, send me a message. I think you can still do that on here, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see kind of what got people into nerdy stuff, because it is a cool like origin story, if you will. But yeah, I think I am going to go and finish my rice and edit this, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.